What's going on, everybody? My name is Tomas. Welcome to my first look at LG's new G6. LG was kind enough to send me this pre-production model to take a closer look at and share with you what I think of it. So with that said, I want to preface this video by saying this by no means is a review. Stick around, subscribe, and I'll have that at a later date when they send me one of their final production models so I can really put this thing through its paces. My initial impressions of the LG G6 are really positive. It has one standout feature that is very different from previous LG smartphones in the past. The build quality on the LG G6 is phenomenal. The glass and aluminum construction to this device has been put together really well. Not only is it put together really well, it feels really nice in the hand, and it is not a cumbersome device to hold and manage. With minimal bezel design, the 5.7-inch screen feels and looks great. It is extremely responsive, and it is not difficult for those of you with medium to small hands to reach your thumb across the screen. The near bezel-less design on the LG G6 just feels and looks great, adding to users' ability to manage this device one-handed, because that's always been a compromise when you're considering a smartphone with a large screen. Do you want to be able to use and hold it with one hand? Well, you have to kind of get a small to medium-sized device. That is not the case with the LG G6. It is most definitely manageable with one hand, and I really like that about this phone. Let's talk about some things that are important in the evaluation of new handsets. Now again, this is not a full review. If you're interested in that, subscribe and stay tuned because I will be doing that very soon. The dual rear-facing camera gives users the capability of shooting standard zoom ranges and opening the camera up wide so you can capture some really nice images, including all of your scenery. Now, if you're interested in taking a look at some sample images, I will be uploading those to my website. Feel free to hit the card here at this time, and you can head on over there and take a look at some full res samples that I shot on this device. Now, the front-facing camera on the LG G6 is a 5 megapixel shooter that gives users the same capability of capturing standard and wide angle zoom ranges. The sensor on this thing does a pretty good job at including and holding on to detail when you're capturing wide angles. It has a little bit of barrel distortion, but does a great job at maintaining detail nonetheless. Now, with all that said, let's go ahead and take a look at some sample footage that I shot on the LG G6. We're going to take a look at the front-facing camera first, which is only capable of 1920 by 1080p resolution, and then we're going to look at the rear-facing camera, which is capable of Ultra HD, which is 3840 by 2160. Here's a quick demonstration of the front-facing camera. It's 5 megapixels and is in a 4:3 aspect ratio, but when shot in video it goes to 16 by 9, so it crops it in a bit, and it only goes to 1920 by 1080. So it is what it is with the front-facing camera. Does a good job in image stabilization and exposes the image really well when you consider there is some dynamic range change between here and the sun in the back over there. Here's a demo of the rear-facing shooter on the LG G6. It is a 13 megapixel shooter. It does a pretty good job in the shifts of the dynamic range. That's my opinion. The microphone sounds great, but that's no surprise to me, especially when you consider LG's mobile devices always do a really good job in capturing audio. Let me know what you think of the front-facing shooter and this demonstration down in the comment section below, especially when we consider YouTube compression and all that type of stuff. I think it does a good job, but you may think differently. Next in order of importance, in my opinion, is the evaluation of the sound that the handset is capable of producing. The speaker in the LG G6, and yes, I said speaker, is one mono down-firing speaker that is at the bottom of the device. It sounds really great for being what it is, but I would have really liked to see the LG G6 implement stereo sound as other devices have done, with including a speaker in the earpiece. That doesn't detract from the speaker in the LG G6 by any means, but it could be better. Let's go ahead and take a listen at some sample audio that is produced from this device. Now I want to talk a little bit about performance, but I don't want to talk too much about it in detail because I've only had this device for a day. LG's approach to skinning Android 7.0 Nougat is very minimal at the least. Now I understand that this device has minimal to no bloatware because it is a pre-production model, and when this ships on carriers, that may be a totally different story. Now I've always appreciated LG's approach to skinning Android, and having recently switched to iPhone and iOS, I now understand why LG skins Android in this way. It is as if LG is primarily focusing on iOS market share and targeting those customers to come over to Android. Using LG's skin makes that transition much easier because it is a mimic of iOS and functions in the same way. Now, I never understood this until I actually switched to iOS, but now that I have, coming back and using the LG G6 really makes sense to me. LG did a fantastic job with the skin that is included on the LG G6, and it will definitely lessen the learning curve for those individuals that switch from iOS to Android. Alright, so before I close, I want to talk to you a little bit about some specifications that I was able to discover with my day of use of the LG G6. It has a Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. I'm not quite sure of the number just yet, but it is clocked in at 2.19 gigahertz, has 4 gigs of RAM, runs on Android 7.0 Nougat, has an Adreno 530 GPU, and the resolution on the 5.7-inch display is 1440 by 2672, which gives you a display PPI of 562, and it is a phenomenal display to look at. And this pre-production model that I have here in this video was 32 gigabytes of internal storage with the capability of expansion with micro SD card, and more than half of that 32 gigabytes is usable. Finally, it is a unibody design with a non-removable battery that is water resistant. So in my eyes, LG has ticked all the boxes and has made a fantastic Android device, and definitely a contender for top flagship device of 2017. And before I close, I must disclose LG was kind enough to send me this pre-production unit for a first look. Again, like I said, if you're interested in a full review, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. Well, that about does it for me in this one. If you like this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If not, hit that other one. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I'm Tomas, and I'll catch you in the next one.